And the hits just keep on coming. With only one hammer stroke left on the dagger, can the Packers finish 5-0? Do we want them to? If they make the playoffs, how far will they actually go? The fate of the season lies with the Cardinals next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys has been to the birthplace of Curly Lambeau, and the other guy, well, he has too. And now it's time to go, Pack, go, with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinritz.
Wayne Henderson, glad to be with you to talk about our favorite team here on your Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. This 170th episode being recorded on November 27th, 2018, and I'm just about going to get over this flu, cold, chest, cough, whatever it is, make it go away.
And I'm Matt Troy Heinritz, happy to have not watched the second half due to a power outage and Winter Storm Bruce here in the Midwest, because I heard that second half was just as chilling. That's all we got left. Just got bad jokes. Bad jokes, people. Oh my goodness. The continued downward spiral of the Packers offense continues in their loss to the Vikings, so we'll chat about that. We'll also talk about draft talk. It's never too early. And believe it or not, there is still some NFC playoff scenarios for our Packers, but we're bouncing the wrong way. Plus the latest in our NFC North roundup.
And, of course, injuries. Unfortunately, we've got a few new ones. We'll also preview this week's Cardinals at Lambeau Field game. We'll have the results from this week's Twitter and Facebook poll and your G-Force feedback that came in from 920-3PACK-GO from email and in the Facebook community group.
Links and articles we reference in this episode can be found on our website at PackersFanPodcast.com/170. And Minnesota, once again, Sunday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers, just that combination just doesn't work, apparently.
Man, oh man. It looked good for a little bit, but the end result was not very good. But there were a few highlights, Troy. The offense did seem to be clicking along fairly well in the first half. I mean, Aaron Jones, even AR-12 and Devontae Adams, things were looking pretty good. I thought if we hang in there just long enough, we can take this thing.
Well, see, this is the Packers game plan. So for everybody that thinks McCarthy doesn't have a game plan, the game plan over the last 5 weeks has been the same. Score a ton of points in the first quarter, do not convert a third down in the second quarter, get sacked all to hell in the third quarter, and then have a special teams debacle in the fourth. That's pretty much the game plan.
I think we could come up with a better plan than that. Maybe do what we do in the first quarter and then repeat it for the next 3 quarters.
That sounds like a much better plan. We should make you the coach, Wayne.
Oh, man, the stress would probably kill me off. And how about Jair Alexander, man? That guy is definitely one of the MVPs of the team, and if nothing else, rookie MVP.
The thing is that he can't defend everybody.
No.
So if we don't want Jair to die in his sophomore season next year, we need to get him some help.
Yeah.
Whether that be the draft or some free agent signings, but the safety position is just so not there right now. I'm starting to rethink that trade because it would have at least helped.
Yeah, it's a mind boggler, that's for sure. But yeah, if we had 5 or 6 more Jair Alexanders, woo-wee.
That would be nice.
And I think
Aaron Jones.
Yes.
Aaron Jones was running the football in the fourth quarter.
At least
That's
a little
miracle.
bit. Yes.
We didn't completely abandon the run this game, which is, I guess, an upward trend.
Yeah. If we can carry that the rest of the season, who knows what may happen. But there was still more negatives than positives. And, of course, the score was one of the negatives. But a couple of new injuries, coincidentally, when we're playing on field turf again, Troy.
They have field turf in Minnesota?
They got something.
That stadium, I thought it was made out of sand.
Well, yes, the Jawas would say so, but they did import some sort of synthetic grass substance, and I'm not a fan.
No, never a fan of turf. Grass all the way. Now, we did go for it on 4th and inches because everybody was scrutinizing McCarthy's 4th down conversion call from the Seattle matchup. So he goes for it here from the Minnesota 45-yard line. And yeah, we held him to a field goal because of Kenny Clark's great sack. But still, what do you say about this decision? Good, bad, indifferent?
Well, I do kind of like the bold decision. I wish that we were a little bit further down the field before making it. And I wish the play that was called would have been one that maybe had a bit more purpose behind it. I mean, thank goodness for Kenny Clark.
Maybe the play. Yeah, no doubt. I would say the play that they called, I would have been more happy with had they not called the exact same play the play before.
Another interesting strategy.
Third down, they take, and we said, hey, run the ball with them. Let's see what happens, right? But they run him up the middle. Why are they running? They ran him up the middle this entire game. They needed to run to the outside and bounce it outside and get off the tackle. I mean, I don't get it because they ran that play up the middle and then 4th and inches after the whole, the clock was running out and blah, 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 and waste of timeout and all that other fun stuff. But they run the same play. Like, of course they're going to stop them before the marker.
Yep.
So frustrating.
Yep. And the protection for Aaron Rodgers is going downhill in a hurry.
I mean, at this point in the draft, I don't know what we need more. Do we need the safety position more? Do we need defensive outside pass rusher more? Or do we need O-line backup? Because right now there is no O-line backup. Bakhtiari goes down and the whole thing just falls apart.
Instantly. It was frightful, to say the least. Now, did I hear you're already talking about the draft and the season's not over, Troy?
Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but if we lose one more, we'll get the draft in the top 10 for the first time in a long time. Something to be excited about, Packers fans.
I'm not excited about that. Maybe when April gets here, I will, but because I heard that the draft is actually going to be broadcast live on ABC this time around, in addition to being on the NFL Network. And on the ABC draft coverage for 3 days, they're going to have the college game day guys actually handle the draft since they know about the college players.
Oh, that's a very interesting twist. I like that.
Yeah.
There might be some new flair.
Yeah, something different.
Especially when we hear, the Packers number called in the top 5 spots.
Well, with Gutekunst, and we've got a fair amount of draft picks, and we may parlay those into more. Who knows what magic he may have up his sleeve. We could maybe draft an entire new offensive line to join Bakhtiari.
Well, what we can do is we could draft a new special teams coach. That's what I would say. Is that possible?
I don't know if you can draft those, but I do admit I was totally embarrassed by Tramon Williams' botched attempt to catch that punt that came his way. I don't know if that has much to do with the coach, just his mind went blank, and no. Oh, that was probably the worst moment of the entire game.
It almost looked like he bent down to look at that, like he's watching an egg hatch or something. Like he watched the ball hit the ground, and then he's like, "Oh crap! I got to move out of the way."
Too late.
Delayed reactions all around. Oh my gosh, it was just pathetic. I mean, the couple clips that I saw of the second half, because I literally, it was like a minute and a half to go in the second quarter, right before halftime, and the power just gone. I was watching the game with my pastor, who I took up to the tie up at Lambeau Field. So I said, "Okay, rematch, your place this time because it's home field advantage." And so we were watching the game in his house, and I was like, "See, look, the Vikings can't even keep the power on, let alone win Super Bowls. If we were at my house, we would have the game on the whole time, but whatever."
I think there was a strategy built into that. It was just strange to see how that entire end of the game went, in addition to the whole game. And of course, I'm getting over the flu. I had a fever for a day and a half. I took a 3-hour nap on Sunday before the Packers game, in and out of delirium. It was just insanity. And I'm just sitting there watching the game going, is this really happening, or am I hallucinating this entire game? Because this sure seems a lot like the past couple of times we've played on Sunday night in Minnesota. Thank goodness it's over, Troy.
Because the Seattle loss was bad enough, but then the Minnesota loss is even worse because now that gives Seattle a tiebreaker over us, gives Minnesota the tiebreaker over us. Washington Redskins have a tiebreaker over us. So there's some scenarios that are out there still in play, but not many.
Well, the Vikings have a very tough time ahead of themselves the rest of the season. So, of course, we do need to win every game, and we have every right to be a little bit nervous, but we will finish, I believe, at least higher than the Vikings.
I don't know about that. I mean, you got Bakhtiari down on the sideline with a knee injury. You got Equanimeous St. Brown with an elbow. Nick Perry's out for the season now.
Oh my gosh.
Randall Cobb, still don't know what's going on there. Daniels might as well be gone for the season at this point. I mean, it's just a world of decimation.
Yeah. Bakhtiari, we need him more than all the rest of the guys.
Oh yeah, that is for sure. If that second half was any clear indication, Bakhtiari is like key to the offensive line. Because, I mean, Balaga's great and all, but Balaga, man, he looks tired.
Yeah.
He looks super tired.
Well, since Bakhtiari's dealing with a knee issue, maybe since Aaron Rodgers is no longer wearing that knee brace and AR-12 already has it broken in, perhaps he can loan that to Bakhtiari and he can keep on playing with the brace, make things happen.
Yeah, I would have to keep an eye on him during practice this week. I hope he plays. I hope he practices.
Yeah, because
it is the Cardinals.
True. And we have, 5 games left this season, and obviously none of them are going to be flexed into Sunday Night Football. So we have noon Central starts the rest of the way out. Consistency, Troy, that's what we like.
And I believe we have, 3 home games out of those 5?
Yep.
But see, that means that if we lose the 2 road games, that we would be 7-8-1, which would be a losing record, Wayne. That's no bueno.
That is no bueno, but, let's not even think about that.
But in that scenario, we would not finish in last place because the Lions already have 7 losses, and when we beat them, because that would be a home game, that means that they would have 8 losses, so... And I'm sure Detroit will lose one more because I said they'd go 7-9. So,
if they're lucky, yeah. So it's the NFC North. Yeah. The Bears. They got Khalil Mack. Lucky sons of guns.
Yeah, that should have been the one free agents move we should have picked up on, and too bad for us.
I think the Bears just bid the world for him, for the sole reason of making sure that he did not go to the Green Bay Packers. And it worked.
I think that's exactly why they picked him up.
Yep. Let's check in with the Packers Fan Podcast G-Force and see what kind of listener feedback we got this week. Checking in with Andre in L.A.
Hey, guys. Andre in L.A. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. I mean... trying to be fired up, but I'm very disappointed. It's been a rough season. From the start of the year to now, where we're not technically eliminated, but we're pretty much. A lot of things to say. Aaron Rodgers just hasn't really been that sharp this season. I got a lot of love for him. Still think he's the best quarterback, but this hasn't been his best year. McCarthy, at least we'll be rid of him. Saw a lot of good things from the defense this year. I'm still going to watch the rest of the season. Still going to call in. For Thanksgiving, I actually became a Pantheon member. I think I'm Marvel. I forget. It'll come up. But this was just a rough year. Rough game to watch. We started off hot. I liked the way the offense was clicking, but I don't know if it's the second half adjustments. I don't know what it is with our offense this year. Just for whatever reason, it stalls, and whenever it stalls, it just does not get it in sync. I don't know. I'm real emotional right now, so I don't want to say anything I regret. Just love the show. Still green and gold, so I'm dead and cold. Probably should have waited till the next day to call, but I just wanted to Continue to show my love and support for the show. Go Pack, go. Love you guys.
Andre, thanks so much for calling in, brother. And yes, I finally figured out the answer to why the offense doesn't work in the second half.
And?
Tryptophan. It was Thanksgiving weekend after all. I mean, there were leftovers in the locker room. I'm sure that's exactly what contributed to the loss. Tryptophan.
Well, that explains this one loss. Andre, love you too, my friend.
12 days to prepare for the Vikings, a common foe that you've seen, and you can't pull out a win. I just don't get it.
I don't know. But Andre, we greatly appreciate your calls. Please watch the rest of the games. Please call us every week. We love hearing from you. Listeners, you got to step it up. Be like Andre. Call every week at 920-3PACK-GO. And Andre, you made a great point about Aaron Rodgers not looking all that sharp. Yeah, I don't exactly know what's going on there. And second half adjustments. I think the tryptophan is the adjustment.
You look at Rodgers' numbers. I mean, the numbers look great. I think the challenge is Rodgers isn't taking a chance. He isn't throwing the ball out there and making the ability for the receiver to make something happen. And if you look at the coaches' cam, I mean, the greatest thing about the Game Pass, granted, you get the full game. You also get the condensed version, which is great for no commercials. But the coaches' cams are invaluable. And if you look on a few of those progressions, there are flat out people that he is missing. There's there was one specifically that I know where Devontae Adams, the play is drawn up to basically entice the safety to take a step forward, assuming it's a running play. And when you see him take that step forward, Devontae's already got his guy beat on the outside because he's got a middle linebacker covering him instead of a D-back. Rodgers could have hit him in stride, but because Rodgers is worrying about the people coming in to sack him, he's not looking at that first read. So he's missing easy reads this year. And I don't know if that's just trepidation because of the knee or if something else is going on there with mechanics. I'm not sure. Remember, he did switch quarterback coaches in the offseason too, so maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, even though the stats look like he's having a banner year, he's just not physically all that sharp when it comes to hitting the. I mean, there was a couple times where he literally had. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my train of thought, but because I'm like Rodgers, I couldn't see the field. Aaron Jones, yes, Aaron Jones. There was a couple plays designed where he actually sits there, and if there's nobody to block, then he comes and sneaks through and then sits in the flat. And Rodgers missed him a couple times, and instead of hitting Jones for an easy 5-yard pickup, he's pulling the ball down and running and then getting sacked with it. So, there are plays that are drawn up from looking at the coach's cam that are drawn up the way they're supposed to be, and I just don't think Rodgers is executing.
And although the stats look very nice, the one stat that really matters is scoreboard. At the end of the game, scoreboard. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers throws 3 interceptions a game if we win that game.
Right. And I think that's part of the thing. It's like you don't want to turn the ball over, but if we're punting the ball away and messing up on special teams and still holding people to nothing or a field goal, and the defense is playing as well as they are, then take a chance. And if you get 1 interception a game, big deal, as long as it isn't a pick 6.
Yeah, maybe doesn't ABBA have a song called Take a Chance from back in the 70s? They could play that before every game in the locker room and just get everybody amped up.
Maybe that's what happens the next time a wide receiver from the Packers gets a touchdown, is that they reenact Take a Chance on Me in the end zone.
The version from the official ABBA video or from the movie Mamma Mia? I don't know.
No, the ABBA video, obviously.
Oh, obviously. Andre, thank you for your call. And thank you very much for becoming a Patreon supporter of the podcast. We greatly appreciate it, my friend.
All right. In other news, Andre was talking about, maybe we're done for the playoffs. And not quite yet. There's still a way that we can make it into the NFC playoffs.
Are there ways that we could make it into the AFC playoffs if the NFC doesn't work out? Maybe.
Yes, the way we can get into the AFC playoffs is just move on over there. I mean, Seattle came over from the AFC to the NFC, so why not? Let's just switch it up. Go take over Indianapolis' spot, and Indianapolis can take over our spot. Switch it up. Have some fun. No, but seriously, right now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 people, if you count the Vikings, ahead of the Packers. Now they only need to get into that 6th position for the wild card. So a couple of things need to happen here. Number one is that the Vikings hold the tiebreaker over us. And because they have the tie, even if the Vikings were to lose 2 and we were to win out, the Vikings would still take a spot over us. So the chances of the Vikings losing 3 is probably slim.
I don't know. Have you looked at their schedule?
I looked at their schedule, but Kirk Cousins is playing tough, and Thielen's in there, and Dalvin Cook is back, and so I don't know. I don't think the Vikings are going to lose 3, so I'm not going to rely on the Vikings. I think the Vikings stay at the 5th seed going forward. What we need to have happen is we need Washington to win the division because we lose the tiebreaker to the Redskins. So if Washington wins the division, then we have some magic to work with. So what has to happen then is that the Philadelphia Eagles need to lose 1 game, which I think is doable. The Seahawks and the Cowboys both have to lose 2 games, and the Packers have to completely win out and run the table. Now, the Cowboys losing 2, I can see that happening, right? So the Eagles could lose to the Rams. The Panthers could lose to the Saints twice because that has to happen as well. The Panthers also have to lose 2 games, and they play the Saints 2 times, so that's a given. Then you have the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks are the wild card here because they're the ones that are actually playing playoff football, in my opinion, right now. But the Seahawks do play the Vikings, and the Seahawks play the Chiefs. So I think they can lose to the Chiefs, but it's the Vikings game against the Seahawks. That's the big wild card. If that's the way that this one's going to go. That's basically a play-in game for those 2 clubs. And so for the week that the Seahawks play the Vikings, you are all Vikings fans that week because we need the Seahawks to lose. And then the Cowboys, this one's tough too because the Cowboys have to play the Saints. So I think the Saints will win that one. But then the Cowboys play the Eagles. So it's a question of which Eagles team shows up in that given week. Otherwise, the Cowboys are playing like all the bottom of the barrel also. So Cowboys have to lose the Saints. Cowboys have to lose to the Eagles because that's their best chances for a loss. They could lose to anybody, but I think those are the best lost chances.
Okay.
Then Seahawks lose to the Vikings and Chiefs. Panthers lose to the Saints twice. Eagles will lose to the Rams. We win out. Hey, 6th seed, and we're in the playoffs, and it's a whole new season.
Anything could happen.
That's a high probability of not so fast.
I don't know. There's been a couple of seasons, even in the Brett Favre era, where I remember something crazy had to happen. That did happen, and it was an hour after the Packers game had already ended, and we were watching some other team out west, and the right thing happened, and we're like, woo, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to those times.
No,
we should be in definitively, especially with the team that we have.
We should be, but at this point, however it takes to get in is how I want to go. And for fun, we will link to this in our show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com/170. The New York Times has this handy online tool for predicting the chances of making the playoffs for every possible scenario you can type in. So be sure to go to PackersFanPodcast.com/170. Look for that link to the New York Times tool. It's fun because even if by some chance we lose this weekend, yeah, right. You could still type in all these different scenarios, and it'll give you the percentage of the Packers still making the playoffs if this, and this happen. So check it out and have fun with that. But in either event, go Pack Go. Let's root for a victory. So speaking of the playoffs, this week's Monday Twitter poll at Packers Fan Pod and in our Packers Fan Podcast community group. If our Packers do make it to the NFC playoffs, how do you think we'll do? And Troy, I'll get your answer from these choices. The playoffs are a whole new season. We can still win it all. Or we make it into the playoffs, make it to the NFC game, championship game, but lose it. Or we make it to the playoffs and we'll win 1 or 2 playoff games. Or we make it to the playoffs and we don't win a dang thing. Which one would you vote for?
None of the above.
What's your option?
Realistically, in the back of my mind, we don't make the playoffs.
The question was if we make it into the playoffs.
Oh, if.
Yes.
If. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we don't win. One and done.
Well, you are the same type of thinker as many of the people that voted, because 57%, unbelievably, said they don't think the Packers will win any playoff games, even if we get in.
See, technically, 57% also are saying that the Packers won't make the playoffs because they won't win any playoff games.
Wow. Well, there were 19% of you that voted that said we will win one or two of the playoff games. 5% said we'll make it to the NFC title game, but lose it. And
that's what I don't want to have happen. Like, I don't want it to be 2016, run the table, get to the NFC championship game, and then get wiped all over the carpet by the Falcons. Like that scenario, like, no, I do not want to be playing the Saints in the NFC title game and then get shellacked. I'd rather go home early than see that happen again, because that's just
seriously. What if we make it to the NFC title game, and even if it is the Saints, and we win?
If we win, that's fine, but I don't want to make it to the NFC title game and get shellacked again.
No, we don't want to get shellacked. It's all about winning. Speaking of winning, 19% of the people said playoffs are a whole new season. We can still win it all. Go, Pack, go!
Chiefs are tough. Patriots are tough.
Patriots aren't going to be in the Super Bowl.
The Browns could make the Super Bowl, people. Yes, that's what we're talking about today. The Browns are still in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, they have the same record we do, I believe.
Oh, see, I was waiting to pull that one out of my pocket. You just went there. That is a low blow, my friend.
No, it's a compliment.
You were talking about me saying that the playoffs are out of reach. And then you're like, yeah, we got the same record as the Browns.
No, but that's a compliment.
In fact, right now, we both are tied to pick 11th in the draft.
Well, we're going to have to play each other in the Super Bowl to settle that tie. We got some comments about the poll in Facebook. Marty Dixon said, I hate to be defeatist, but this season's playoff hopes are done. It's all about next year now.
Throw every game. Get a better draft pick.
No!
Well, I definitely think Zook will be out as a special teams coach for sure at the end of the season. And then if we do not make the playoffs, then McCarthy is definitely gone too.
That's a Big 10-4. Peter Allison commented on the poll and said, it's the hope that there is still a chance that's killing me. It's
every
the hope.
Minute of every day, Peter. Every minute of every day. Stupid New York Times. I just kept playing with it today just for fun. And it's like, dang, that gets us in two. Dang, that gets us in two. Stop the insanity.
It's fun playing with that tool. It's very addictive. And Brett Connor commented, I am pleased to say that I set the game to record on my DVR and went to bed there in the UK.
Good job, Brett. Good job. Do that for the rest of the season. You'll be better. Watch a condensed version without commercials on NFL Game Pass.
Well, since the rest of the games are at noon central, that's a reasonable time even for our friends on the other side of the planet.
It is. It's Sunday Night Football for them every week. All right, well, let's go ahead and check in with some emails that we got. Email from Caleb. You know Caleb, of course. Caleb Fisher, Larna LaPointe, and Mary Herkmas up in Green Bay, Wisconsin said how disappointed this season has been so far. We can't believe that we have given up in every single game this year, and it seems that we have been losing so many starters as well. We believe that there need to be some changes here in the coaching staff, and or the conditioning coach needs to be released at the end of the year. I would agree. I'm so tired of, football, you get banged up and blah, blah, blah. It just seems like the key position players are the ones that are always hurt. It's Bakhtiari was hurt this time last year. Balaga was hurt this time It's the same people all the time, so there has to be a conditioning problem. So I'm with you, Caleb. But regardless of all that, we'll never stop cheering for the Packers. Bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Go Pack Go. Caleb Fisher, Larna LaPointe, and Mary Herkmas up there in Wisconsin.
Awesome to hear from you. We hope to get emails from you as well as from Steven next week after we beat the Cardinals at Lambeau Field. Let's check in with the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group. Of course, that's at packerscommunity.com. First off, we heard from Aaron Peterson, who said, and that's the season. What's the verdict on McCarthy? Keep him or find another? Also, is no one willing to admit Aaron's attitude this season, other than the opener, sure hasn't seemed like that of a leader?
Well, I think I get where he's coming from. I would say that the first quarter of the season up until the bye, it still seemed like he was in on it. You know, it was, I mean, the Buffalo game had some snarky comments about how the offense wasn't opened up. And maybe that should have been the indicator right there that the offense wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. That comment might have been the start of the downfall at that point. I mean, you come back and you fight hard against San Francisco and able to put up a W there. But I mean, just dropping that one to Washington and dropping the hurtful one to Detroit, which is really more on Mason than anything than the offense. But the offense still sputtering out, not being able to sustain the drives and putting Mason in the position to kick those field goals. I mean, maybe Aaron was onto something in the Bills game that they're like, hey, there's a problem here and we need to solve this. And they just haven't solved it all year. So I think that's kind of a leader. He's calling it out. You know, now is he blaming other people? I don't think so. At every press conference he's had, he said specifically, you know, I got to play better. I got to play better. I mean, he's taking the onus in the press conference. So that's more than I hear from McCarthy in his press conferences.
True, but AR-12 does seem a bit like a grumpy cat right now.
Well, I'd be grumpy too. I mean, I got signed to this extended contract and I got all this money, which then here come the conspiracy theorists that are out there saying, hey, maybe Aaron's throwing the games away because he wants to get McCarthy fired. And it's like,
no, that
those
I don't
people
buy.
Are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do not buy into that at all.
There's no way that's happening. And I'm sure that part of the frustration and maybe even part of the problems with the passing game are all tied to the knee injury, which could be a little bit worse than what he's letting on. I mean, sure, he's not wearing a brace anymore and he is running around a bit, but I mean, how would you like to be, you know, touted as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and you get injured right off the bat again at the beginning of the season and just have to fight and scrap the entire time? Oy.
And he's still putting up the numbers that he's putting up with a bum leg. I mean, come on. I mean, he's still a great football player. We, once again, just do not surround him with the weapons that need to be surrounding him by. And unfortunately, I think that says sayonara to Cobb to free up some cap room to go get a star receiver next year.
Or spend some money on some more of an offensive line. But then again, we do need more than one great wide receiver.
Right.
Boy, we got it.
Unfortunately, Graham is a failed experiment again this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he dropped 2 balls in this game.
Well,
sure. I mean, maybe it was the thumb. I don't know.
Yeah, but
no, he should have caught those.
Yeah, I agree. After what's happened in the past 3 or 4 seasons, practically in a row, getting older tight ends that are a little, even if they're just a little bit past their prime, it's just not working out for us. So let's not do that again.
Jared Cook's still putting up big numbers in Oakland, just saying.
Well, the Jared Cook, Jordy Nelson, well, Jordy Nelson's out injured. Basically, Jared Cook is the only thing that Oakland has right now. So he has no choice but to put up numbers.
I'm saying he's still doing it though. Like, why did we get rid of why did we get rid of him?
Well,
I did not understand that decision at all.
No, and even listening to past episodes of the Packers Fan Podcast, we were both pretty darn surprised that we let Jared Cook go, especially after that great season with the toe tap catches and all that stuff. Hindsight.
That was the old front office.
That's true. Also got a comment from Paula Francine who says, I like McCarthy. Rodgers needs an attitude adjustment, and he needs to lose 120 pounds of what's giving him his attitude.
Yeah. Maybe he should go make sure his mom's okay. That'll make him loosen up a little bit.
All righty.
The Twitter wars between that family, I tell you.
Yeah, some of the things that his brother said, I'm like, it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers donates $1 million towards the California firefighters and the victims of the fires. And his brother has to come out and say something bad about it? I mean, what do you expect from somebody that even went on The Bachelor?
Exactly.
Family issues.
So, family drama. Always fun. Always comes out at Thanksgiving, too.
Yeah, the holidays sometimes bring out the worst in people.
They sure do. And if you want to see what's being the worst from other people in the Packers Fan Podcast community group, you should join by going to packerscommunity.com and hear more great discussions, including a surprising back and forth about Coach McCarthy, all from different angles. Friends reminding us all that they too are still supporting the Green Bay Packers amidst the abysmal season. And thanks to the TV game show Jeopardy, our rival Detroit Lions have another dubious distinction. You'll have to watch that video. It's pretty funny. I had to laugh. And there's a bunch more all happening over at packerscommunity.com. Well, the great Willie Wood wore jersey number 24, now a Packers legend. Bryant is a $24 monthly supporter and always a Packers Fan Podcast legend. That's right. Bryant is supporting the Packers Fan Podcast at packersfanpodcast.com/support at the Willie Wood $24 level. Thank you so much, Bryant. We super appreciate it.
And the Texas-only Green Bay Packers Fanatics Facebook group continues to support the show at the $12 a month Aaron Rodgers support level. Thank you so very much to each and every one of you. And as always, stay tuned at the end of this episode for their message, and go Pack Go.
Supporting us at the $4 monthly level, new Packers Fan Podcast supporter, Andre in LA. Thanks so much, Andre, for coming on board. Also, the dedication to lifelong Packer backer Randy Westgame of Wausau and good old Jeff Summerfield still supporting us at the Brett Favre Never Give Up $4 monthly level.
And go Pack Go to all of our Curly Lambeau $1 a month monthly supporters like Velvet O'Clair, Aaron Peterson from the Hollywood Outsider, and Hank Davis from the TPE network of podcasts.
You too can make the podcast better by going to packersfanpodcast.com/support. Check out all the different levels so that you can see what you can win. And by supporting the podcast and getting us to our $500 monthly goal, we'll be able to do some more fun stuff like live call-in shows after the game where we can all cry and bitch together. It'll be fun for these last 5 weeks. Hopefully we don't have to even do that. We can just cheer for the awesome victories and we'll run the table and then still fall short, which might be okay.
Oh. We're going to be rooting for victories. Thanks again, Aaron, Hank, the Texas-only Green Bay Packers Fanatics, Andre, Bryant, Randy, Jeff, and Velvet for your awesome support of the Packers Fan Podcast.
Well, let's go into the NFC North roundup and take a look at the Lions, where we just shake our heads. You know, this man was paid $135 million to be the quarterback of the future. Matthew. You could have tied the game, and then you went all Stafford on us. That's right, throwing the interception in the end zone at the end. So, but if you really look at this game, as close as the game was at the end of it, it really wasn't that close at all. And it shows why Detroit is at the bottom of the division. Oh, wait, we're only a half a game better than they are.
Oh, my.
The Bears, of course, with the absence of Mitch Trubisky, you can definitely tell the offense is a completely different machine without him. They almost lost to the Lions. Yes, this game would have been a blowout had Trubisky been in there. So Mitch, I think, is the real deal. And the Vikings, I hate to say it, but between the Bears and the Vikings, I think I'd rather have the Vikings make the playoffs because, one, I think Kirk Cousins deserves to win. He really made Rodgers look silly on Sunday night. And they paid him a lot of money and a lot of guaranteed money to basically take over Case Keenum's position and take them to the playoffs. So for Kirk Cousins, I hope the Vikings do well and then lose in the NFC Championship game once again so they don't have a trophy. Thielen and Diggs are actually really fun receivers to watch. I had a fun time watching them catch balls on Sunday. And the defense is pretty solid. So we'll see what happens. But at this point, I think I'd cheer for Vikings over Bears.
Oh, my goodness.
And I've never done that in my life. So, but they're definitely fun to watch right now. And we would be in the 6th seed in the playoffs today. Instead, we're in a 9th place. So definitely, or actually I think we're in 10th if I do my math correctly. So I mentioned all the scenarios before. So just make sure whoever plays the Cowboys, whoever plays the Seahawks, whoever plays the Panthers, all of those people need to lose. So we can win, and make it into the playoffs. But if we lose one more game, that handy nifty New York Times simulator thingy, yeah, there's like 0% chance.
Oh, I think there was still one.
There was one scenario that's like, if all 9 planets align, and yes, I said 9 planets because we got to make sure that Pluto comes back into the equation.
That's right.
In order to make it happen. It's pretty slim pickings. So one more loss and we're done.
Well, how do we make sure that at least this week we win, and then we'll focus on next week when we get there?
Look, the season's been a debacle the last couple of weeks. Let's just break it down to bare brass tacks. Number 1, short, high percentage throws. No more down the field. No more just 2-step drop, throw the football. 2-step drop, throw the football. Take an interception. I don't care if you turn the ball over. Just short, high percentage throws. Score really fast. Number 2, whenever the ball is in the air on a kick, fair catch, everything. Don't let it bounce. Don't let it drop in front of you. Don't be in the end zone. Just fair catch every single time. And number 3, stop whining about what's going on with the refs and just focus on what we can control. I understand that they didn't spot the ball and the clock started running, but you still had 25 seconds to get a playoff. And if you can't get a playoff in 25 seconds, you deserve a 5-yard penalty. And then number 4, just win. It's at home. Let's just take a win and get in and get out.
Without new injuries.
Without any, just win. We need to be on an upswing going into December.
No doubt. I love those keys to victory, Troy. Let's check in now and see what the official Packers dope sheet has as far as highlights for Week 13, the Cardinals at Packers matchup. And we'll link to the entire dope sheet at PackersFanPodcast.com/170. Well, here's some stellar numbers for you. The 4-6-1 Green Bay Packers are back at home at Lambeau Field to host the desert-dwelling 2-9 Arizona Cardinals.
Do you know why 4-6-1 sounds bad?
It does sound bad.
Because when you put a 2 in the middle between 4 and 6, you get 4-26. I feel like that's like a traumatic number for some reason.
That's a mystery. Very sad. Very sad.
4th and 26. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No team. Yeah. No. Now, according to the dope sheet, it is only the second time the Cardinals have played at Lambeau Field in December. And the last time was way back December 21st, 1969. So it has been a while, and they're due. The Packers are 28-9 all-time at home against the Cardinals during the regular and postseason, including wins in each of the last 9 games. Now, the Packers have scored 24-plus points in 7 of the last 8 home games against the Cards, including eclipsing 30 points 5 times. So this all gets me very excited, but the Packers have played 3 games against the NFC West this season, and all 3 games were decided by 3 points or less. And that's even the 49ers. So, under head coach Mike McCarthy, the Packers are 35-16 in the month of December, which sounds awesome, but those are other seasons, not this crazy year. Now check out this comparison. Mike McCarthy is in his 13th year as the Packers' 14th head coach. This is our 100th season. He's our 14th head coach. Whereas Steve Wilks, in his first year as the Cardinals head coach, is the Cardinals' 36th head coach.
Wow.
That's a lot of head coaches. I know the Cardinals go way back, not as far as we do, but still, 36?
It's crazy.
And as far as a notable connection, linebackers Kyler Fackrell and Blake Martinez both hail from the great state of Arizona. And that's about all that was especially notable, to me anyway. Read the entire official Packers dope sheet at PackersFanPodcast.com/170. And Troy, why don't you go first in predicting how you think the score is going to come out? Because you had the keys to victory, so I think you have a better key on what the final score might be.
Well, before I even give you my score, I just want to say how grateful I am that this game is at home, finally.
Yes.
You know why? Do you know why?
Why, Troy?
Next gen stats.
Oh boy.
The Packers are 1-9 in their last 10 road games. They have not won a road game in 50 weeks.
That's almost a year.
That is a next-gen stat for you.
Well, sometimes when they put out those next-gen stats, we immediately turn around and spoil them all to heck.
I'm going to call Cardinals 10, Packers 17.
10-17. That's a low-scoring affair.
That's because the offenses are pitiful on both teams.
Oh, wow.
I still picked the win. Hey, but I'm just calling it like it is.
That's true.
Look on the bright side.
Yeah,
okay, I could have picked a loss and just been like, put me out of my misery already.
Stop. Well, I think the Packers are going to be so happy to be back home and are going to have a chip on their shoulder because of the entire nation that's just down on them right now. The entire world has portions of fans that are just up in arms, that I think we are just going to blow out the Cardinals like we normally do. I see the Packers winning 31-13.
We can't score more than 22, Wayne, because that's what they put up on Buffalo. I mean, the offense is broken. You heard Aaron Rodgers say the offense is broken.
But remember all the stats about this being December. Lambeau Field is now very chilly indeed. In fact, it's going to be 38 degrees and overcast at kickoff and going down from there.
How strange is it that it's going to be 38 degrees up there in Lambeau, and I'm sitting at 10 degrees this evening, specifically here in Chicago, under like 2 feet of snow.
Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah, Fahrenheit. Like, it's crazy. Like, what has happened that Green Bay is warmer and less snowy than I am?
It's all the hot heads that are up in arms about what's been going on with the team lately. It's raising the temperature.
Yeah, it is. So, well, I know it hasn't been a very uplifting episode of your Packers Fan Podcast because we are still not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. Maybe they want us to be, maybe they don't. I don't know. But if they can help us out and make that happen, just tell them to email us at media@PackersFanPodcast.com.
And follow us all season on Twitter at PackersFanPod and my personal account at Wayne Henderson.
And me, I'm at Troy Heinritz. Be sure to join the Packers Fan Podcast community over at PackersFanPodcast.com/community or PackersCommunity.com. We'll get you there as well.
And after all of these great upcoming victories the rest of this season, we want your feedback. So go to PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback for the ways to let your voice be heard. And thank you for listening to this week's episode of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Next week, we'll be more excited and more happy after a W at home. And be sure you subscribe and get all of that fun action in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and download our apps for iOS and Android. Now, let's try to get hyped and be excited for the Cardinals as they come to town with our friends from Texas. Take it away.
Hey, Wayne and Troy and Packer Nation. This is Dawn down here in Texas, a.k.a. Granny Cheese, and we have something to say.
Hi, I'm James.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Hi, I'm Melissa.
Hi, I'm Susan.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
Hi, I'm Lisa Montgomery, proud mom of number 88, Ty Montgomery, and we want to say,
Go Pack, go!